Assalamu alaikum, good morning, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to another video. This time we are on Assetto Corsa Competizione, and I have entered a new league. It's called Cerberus Racing. It's pretty good fun. This is the second round of the season, but my first round racing in the championship, and this is from Snetterton. So this is qualifying, and this is my fastest lap of the session. I'd already done a 47.1, and I was kind of hoping just to about squeeze in to the 46s. So let's go around for a quick lap. You brake really late down into third gear, and you try to keep it tight, just on the power as early as you can. A little bit more speed maybe could have been taken. Brake around the 2 marker board, down into first gear, get it stopped on the apex, try to rotate the car and get back on the power. At least that's how I find the quickest way to take the corner. Into this left-hander, it's just so tricky. You're just waiting for the right moment to get on to the throttle and then let the car out, use all the apex. We continue to gain time, and then we brake between the second and the first marker board, down into first gear again, get it on the apex. This is a hairpin, on the power as early as possible, and let the car slowly go out. You have to turn in really early for this left-hander so you can get onto the curb. Maybe we could have taken a little bit more apex. Back on the brakes, second gear, turn in early to get over this apex and just try to ease on the power through the right hand. It is very tricky. And then this corner, probably the most important on the circuit. Again, it's a long corner, the grip feels like it's fading away from you, and it leads all the way on to this back straight where we can gain a lot of time, and we are already 7/10 up, on for my best ever lap at the circuit. Late braking towards the apex, and then it's just being gentle on the brakes right at the end so you don't destabilize the car. And this is one of the most fun corners. You have to turn in before you see the corner, anticipate where the camber is going to be, where the apex is going to be, and then just get on the power super early through this really long right hand, and you're kind of just playing with the throttle and the brake all the way through. Keep it over to the right, second gear, hit the apex. Again, use the circle and exit. We have a little bit of a moment with the rear end, but again, we continue to find time, 8/10 up, and a 1:46.3, and we were only 800ths off first. Sadly though, first did improve a bit more. I wasn't able to improve, even though there was maybe a 10th or 2/10 in the lap. I couldn't improve it by enough. We ended up coming second by 3/10 of a second, and we were about half a second ahead of a third. So myself and first, we were in kind of our own little world, individual worlds, let's say. For the next round, I think there's going to be more quick people, so there should be more of a fight, but we are starting in second. A 1-hour race up ahead at my home circuit in Snetterton, because I do live in Norfolk, and Snetterton's only about an hour away from me, maybe less than that. Have actually been able to drive on Snetterton for real one time in a Ginetta. I think it was the GT5 car.
Let's do this.
But yeah, also for those people who might want to watch these races live, I stream them either on YouTube or Twitch, probably on YouTube, and they are on Sunday evenings at around 7 PM. So if you want to see them live, you can tune into the channel then. But we are ready to get racing for my first race, my debut race of the Cerberus Championship. Trying to get that speed just over 43 so you don't get a drive-through penalty, and I always struggle with this a little bit. We get the start straight over to the inside. I want to cover off at third place just so I can try to stick with Mr. Todd Brown, and we catch up a lot on the brakes into turn 1, but that's the main part done. I'm in second. I know I have the pace over everyone else behind, and I just want to try to stick with the Porsche in front of me. So I thought, you know, I'd show the opening few laps of the race, and I will be honest, this was a bit of a lonely race. What I was really proud of was my pace though, because I haven't had much running at Snetterton. It's not a circuit that I know very well on ACC. When I did my practice the day before this race, I was doing low 48s in the race with, albeit a bit more fuel, but I was still running in the low 48s. And I thought, okay, maybe I'll get a 46.9 for qualifying. I ended up getting a 46.3. And then in this race, trying to stick with Todd Brown, I ended up doing mid to low 46s in the race, which was lapping nearly 2 seconds quicker than what I'd done in my practice race run. And yes, I had a little bit less fuel, I had a little bit more practice, but it was still a major improvement. And honestly, I was sweating the entire race. I don't know what it is about ACC sprint race, but they just get on my nerves, or I just feel the pressure of them. I've done, you know, the endurance races, they're fine. I do 2 1-hour stints back to back. no issue, no sweat, nothing. But then when I do these 1 hour races, they just seem to make me push to my absolute limit. And I think also having Todd in front of me as a marker, someone to chase, just made me push that little bit more and really helped me find some extra tenths. And it's one of the reasons why, if you want to get better as a driver, you never race in a series where you're the quickest, because you get complacent. You start to think, oh look, I'm really fast. You always want to race where there is at least one driver quicker than you, because you have someone to chase. You have a reason to push yourself and get faster and faster. And you can never tell yourself that you are going at the limit, because there's someone going faster than you. So there's always that little bit more to strive for. And you can see after the opening lap, we're kind of sticking with the Porsche a little bit. We've already got a very big gap to third. I say that Todd absolutely nails that left-hander. And as a result of being behind Todd, I kind of realized, okay, there's time in some of these corners. And he was lapping in the low 46s. I was lapping in the mid to low 46s. And you can see after about 18 minutes, again, on the mini-map, you can still see the triangle of Todd Brown, who is a few seconds up the road. We're about 11 seconds ahead of third at this point. And as I mentioned, it was a very, very lonely race in second. I was always telling myself, oh, maybe I can catch him if he makes mistakes. And the gap kind of varied from about 3 to 10 seconds. And you can see we actually caught up to Todd a little bit towards the end of our stint. I think on the old tyres, our pace was a little bit better. And we come into the pits then, 35 minutes into the race. There is one mandatory pit stop that we do have to make. And what you do on ACC is you switch your camera view so you can get right into the pit box perfectly. I don't get into the pit box perfectly. I also turn off my engine a bit late, which means the game pushes your car forward, and you actually end up losing a bit of time in the pit stop. If you don't get your car right on the pit box, it costs you about 2 seconds for the game to essentially move your car into position and then jack it up. So not a perfect pit stop from us, probably about 3 or 4 seconds we could have gained with turning the engine off, maybe coming in a little bit quicker. I think we braked a bit too early for the pit entry line, and we do lose a bit of time. You can see that Todd Brown has already left, and we're about 7 seconds behind, when we were probably 4 seconds behind coming into the pits. And I was thinking before, right, if I want to beat Todd, I need to do it in the pits. I need to get a perfect pit stop, and I kind of got everything wrong, not really practicing my pit entries properly before the race. Again, big way of kind of gaining time in these races. If you practice your pits, you can gain, 5-6 seconds. Also finding the right lap to pit on as well. I decided to go quite deep into my stint. Todd went for the same thing, so he's had a flag to flag finish. As we are coming on towards the end of the race, we're about 10 seconds behind Todd Brown, and you can see 42 seconds ahead of third, and we catch up this big cluster of cars that goes all the way up to 9th place. So we're lapping into the top 10. We go to the outside through this left-hander, and we very nicely get given space. 2 of the drivers ahead go wide, so yeah, it's an ambitious place to lap someone, but we were just seeing if we'd be given room under blue flags. It is GT racing, they don't have to let you through, but he does, so we put our car up the inside and we get the lapping done effectively. And then into this left-hander we go, and just 9th place now to lap. 8th was another 20 or so seconds up the road.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, as you can hear me on the live stream, I have no idea how he did a 45 in race spec. I probably could have done a 45 in qualifying, but not with used tyres and half a tank of fuel, as the McLaren ahead weirdly goes wide at the apex, which I wasn't expecting. So I go from carrying speed into thinking, oh right, I actually need to go up the inside, and we almost have contact, but we get the move done. And at this point I thought, right, 7 seconds up to Todd as we have a bit of a moment on corner exit. And I'm just thinking, right, heads down. We know that we've got decent pace on like slightly more worn tyres. And I was still lapping around those kind of mid to low 46s. You can see how fast I lap, 46.3. And then this happens. Our game, or our computer, lost connection to the server. I still had a connection to stream. And after that point, it was just painful. This is us on the final lap of the race. Having no one else on circuit, I kind of lost motivation. I kind of lost, someone to chase. So I started putting in slower times, high 46s, low 47s instead of mid 46s. And I was just telling myself that hopefully the league sees that, I had this weird disconnection, but I was so far ahead of third that maybe they'd give me the points for second. They didn't. And I can kind of understand why the league had to do that. But it's a shame because I put in a bit of practice in for this race. An hour of racing just to lose connection to the server and get no points is unfortunate, to say the least. But yeah, that's been our first race here at Snetterton. Very happy with the pace. The next round is at Mount Panorama Bathurst. It's going to be an absolute monster race. And I'm going to try not to bin it through the mountain repeatedly. But yeah, Todd Brown's on vacation, so I just need to beat my my teammate Sandra Van Sand. Yeah, I'll beat him easily. He's rubbish. He's not even going to watch this, so he won't even know. But yeah, you can see the game thing. So we're 7 seconds down on Todd Brown. I think it's taking like the data from when I disconnected. But yeah, that has been this video. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a boring one. Hopefully at Bathurst, things will be a little bit more fun. And this won't just be a series of, here's the qualifying lap, here's the race start, here's me lapping 2 cars, and here's the end. And I do think that we should be able to have some good battles with Todd Brown, Sandro, and a few of the new faces that have actually just joined the league who seem to have good pace. But yeah, thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, do drop a subscribe. We've got a lot of YouTube shorts coming out with clips from sim races that I do as well as karting races. So yeah, making it a daily habit. So a lot of content coming out on the channel at the moment. But thanks again for watching. See you all in the next one.